Okay, here we go. My goodness, I'm getting a lot of sunlight through the window. I hope it's not too much of a glare. But let's continue. Okay. Carol is my name, and I am the presenter of my first time series that I have entitled Drawdown to the Second Coming of Christ. And I'm on part 2A, and I'm going to start where I left off from on the previous clip. And this will probably be the last clip of the day. Okay. Now, this is Sunday, by the way, January 20th, 2008, and I'm going to be, good Lord willing, doing these clips through the end of this series, which has a third part. This is a three-part series, part 1, part 2, part 2A, of which we're on now, part 3 and part 3A, which has the summary and conclusion. So we're going to, part 2A, again, was derived from Tomorrow's World Literature. That is my resource for part 2A. Okay, great resource, as well as all the rest of them that I named in at the top of the series if you missed that. Okay, moving on. First of all, to understand the current conflict, let us take a look at the story of Jacob and Esau. Many of you are probably quite familiar with the story, but those of you who are not, it's a great story. Very, very, very unique. Not unique. No, it's definitely not unique. I guess I'm getting tired of talking. Getting tongue-tied. But it's very, very interesting, again, to say the least. All right. These were twin brothers, sons of Isaac, Abraham's son. Now, Esau was born first. Therefore, he was the first son, then Jacob comes right on out. You know how that goes if you're a twin. Okay, and that made him the first son, so therefore he became, Esau became the heir to the family birthright blessing. However, Esau sold his birthright to his brother Jacob upon Jacob's demands. Here's a case where one brother, Jacob, demanding that his brother Esau sell him his birthright before Jacob would even serve Esau the dinner that Jacob had prepared. Now, what an awful thought. But the same thing goes on today. That's why I said it's not unique. As most of us have experienced at some point in our lives, it's what we call sibling rivalry. Now, to further explain today's ongoing conflict between the Arabs and the Jews over the land where Israel now resides, let us just take a look at this family situation. As we read, starting from Genesis chapter 25, verse 20, it tells us that Isaac was 40 years old when he married Rebekah. His wife Rebekah was barren. Seems like there's a lot of barren women back in those days, back in the day. And but the ones that I'm talking about, Sarah now, Isaac's mother, and now his wife Rebekah, was blessed by the Lord to conceive. So the Lord opened their wombs and they were able to conceive. This is what I call a miracle straight from God. Now, you can read more about that in verse 22 of Genesis chapter 25. Now, we see where I'm going to paraphrase rather verse 22 of chapter 25 of Genesis. The next couple of verses, 22 and 23. Now we see that the twins were struggling within their mother's womb. In verse 23, Rebekah asked the Lord why she was having such a hard time. And the Lord said to her that there were two nations that were going to come out of her womb. One would be stronger, and the oldest would serve the youngest, which is exactly what happened once they were born and grew up. In verse 34 of Genesis 25, it tells us that Esau, quote unquote, despised his birthright. Now, read Genesis 25, this is my suggestion, chapter 25, verses 20 all the way through 24 to get the full story on that. Now, a conspiracy between Rebekah and her favorite son, Jacob. Jacob was Rebekah's favorite son because he liked to help her around the house with household chores. Evolved when the mother, Rebekah, overheard her husband Isaac tell Esau to go hunt for some meat, cook it, and bring it to him to eat before Isaac died. When Esau went out to hunt for the meat, Rebekah told her son Jacob to pretend to be his brother Esau and bring his father Isaac his favorite dinner, so that the father would bless Jacob instead of Esau with this birthright blessing. Jacob obeyed his mother, of course, and was able to fool his aged, dying father. Thereby, Isaac mistakenly blessed Jacob with the birthright blessing instead of his favorite son, Esau. Now, Esau was Isaac's favorite son because Esau was the first son, and Esau, because he came out minutes before Jacob, I would imagine, and Esau was a very hard worker. Now, read, if you would please, Genesis chapter 27 in its entirety, and you'll see what I mean. Okay, Esau's response to all of this birthright debacle, if you will, was thus, quote, "And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then I will slay my brother Jacob." End of quote. Slay means to kill. And like I said, if you read the whole chapter of 27, you can get more on the story of Jacob and Esau. However, that quote I just quoted you came from Genesis chapter 27 and verse 41. Now, I'm going to stop here for today. And I thank God for letting me get through this day. I had a lot of problems getting set up at first, but God is still good. He's still on the throne, and He is still blessing, and He's still doing miracles, because He certainly did one for me on today. And so I would just like to thank all of you who are out there and you're saying, "Go, Carol, go," because you know this is my first time. I can't hear you or see you physically, but I can hear you and see you in my mind's eye, in my mind's ear, I guess you would say. All right, so I'm going to close down for today, and you guys have a great day, and God bless you all. I'll be back, good Lord willing, on another day to finish my series, DrawDown to the Second Coming of Christ. Have a good evening.